Alrighty, back at it. Canadian. Oh, wait. There's this. Actually, the ball marks is weird. When I look at the camera, it's a little more obvious than in person. I looked real quick and it didn't look like there was any on there. Is that ball mark? Well, anyway, back at it with another installment of I'm freezing my ass off in my garage, so I hit golf balls to stay warm. I know, I gotta work on the title. Alrighty. Have not hit any balls yet, just collected a basket of them. I like to film because then I can watch my swing for one. I also like the added pressure of not having any cuts in any of my videos or anything. So I gotta hit the ball good, and it adds a little bit of pressure, kind of simulating real golf when there's pressure on the course or in a tournament or whatever. But yeah, all right. First swing of the day. I drew some lines on here. I don't know if anyone could tell, but it's more for the camera's benefit. Ooh. First swing felt great. I don't know what it is. The first swing of the day always feels so good. Dead center. Nice smooth swing, but just came rocketing off the club face. It's funny, I've been noticing a lot of instructors now teaching what I've taught and known myself since I was a kid. That goes very much against traditional golf instruction. That felt nice. Of the backswing. Last one. Another one flush. But traditional instruction wants you, keep your head, the golf head, the head of the club, outside of your hands. I mean, really, this is perfectly in line, where this shaft is running parallel to that line, running parallel to there, basically over your hands and the club or over your toes. That is like perfect right there, but a lot of people teach out here. Keep it outside of your hands, like kind of Ricky Fowler's old swing, where he really kept it out and then came in. But right there's been about square. Some people teach out here, but getting it inside has always been a no-no. And I wouldn't suggest getting it way inside. Some of the instructors preaching inside, I think, don't clarify the fact that if you come too far inside, watch out, if I come inside, my club's coming in, and then it has to change directions, and you'll end up getting steep. See if I come way inside, how that club, it's kind of working straight up and down here, and then, so it's kind of like this. But if, starting right in the center, that old drill of working on the backswing, if you start the club straight back off the ball, you can see it's coming straight off the ball here, and by here, it's basically like my toe, instead of the center of the club, is now lined up, because it's began to arc around. So if it just arcs around, I'm right there, perfect. If you can get right to that perfect, does that make sense? Pushing straight back for the first 6 inches to an inch off the ball, but by the time I'm right here, now the toe of my club is lined up because it's begun to start on this arc. And if I just continue that arc, my wrist is flat, my club is parallel to this line. It's a little weird trying to do it in slow motion here. Right here is where I normally be. Arm flat, wrist flat, shaft right about parallel with that line. The leading edge of my club is matching my spine angle. That's perfect. And then it's just a turn right to there. between on your shoulders and just above it. So if I were to come just a little bit more inside, it gets me right on my shoulder plane, right there. But a lot of instructors have taught this move of coming out, like I was saying, like an old Ricky Fowler swing, and dropping in. And I always found that extremely difficult when I was a kid. And I was a pretty good player when I was a kid. I think I first hit scratch when I was around 12. I know when I was 14, I was like a plus 1.5 because I still have my handicap index card from that year. So the age of 13, I think the end of the season when I was 13 was when I first was playing to a plus handicap. But anyway, since back then, I've realized that just from playing so much, if I want to come inside and draw the ball, I mean, this is exaggerated, but I always realize it's easier if I just take the club a little more inside off the ball and just swing right to here a little bit flatter. Versus if I want to cut the ball, I'm a little bit steeper. I mean, not to mention you're setting your body up. Those were a little bit of exaggerated examples, and when you're actually going to hit the ball, you'll be amazed at how, like, I can feel like I'm doing this in my swing, feeling like I try to make a lot of beginners who come over the top feel like Jim Furyk. And it's funny, I tell them to take the club way out here and drop way to the inside, and they can do that on their practice swings. Then they take an actual swing and they do this, and they're perfect. So reels and feels, I'm sure everyone's heard. But again, what I was getting at is so many instructors I've been seeing are now preaching that a little bit flatter, a little more rounded off. It's a one plane swing, not a single plane. Single plane is referring to the address, but one plane. There's a plane right here, changes a little bit with the length of the club and your body and all that. But basically whatever this plane is right here, perfect, where the butt of this grip is pointing at the ball, right there, your plane, you come back on it, you come down on it. Why do we want to come outside the plane and drop back into it? You also don't want to come inside the plane where, there's going to be, it's not going to be absolutely perfect, but if you can get somewhere just on that plane. One of my old videos, or something about Hogan, swing like Hogan. This is what I was explaining, and this has been my personal theory of the golf swing for a long time. This isn't just something I learned from somebody else. This is through decades of trial and error. I know when I want to hook the ball, I come in I feel like I'm here, and I know when I want to hit a cut, I feel like I'm up here steeper, and straight is in the middle. But the reality, when I watch it on camera, it's like straight, draw, fade. Like the feels are more dramatic than the reels, but it just always made more sense to me to come back and down on the same line. And what I was talking about in my last video, watching the club heads blur through the impact zone, it kind of creates a blur of a line. Now we know that if the club's moving left because of the new laws of ball flight, we're going to assume that the face is always square to the target during these demonstrations. So if the club path is moving left, we know the ball is going to start at the target and fade right. If it's moving this way, it's going to start at the target and fade left. Yada yada. What was I getting at? Oh, yes. So with your backswing, why not? Some people say that if you bring the club here, it's going to make you more likely to come over the top. But as someone that's always been very athletic, had really good hands, I mean, I was hitting the ball pretty flush my first season out there. I think I was shooting low 40s, like basically my first time playing from the actual tees. That wasn't just in the backyard as a little kid. But anyway, I forget what I was even getting at. I got a million thoughts in my mind right now that aren't golf, but I've been seeing a lot of instructors going against the traditional swing of keeping it out here and in. And but again, they're going too far in the other direction, going against the grain. Because as much as you have to, if the club's outside your hands, right, coming back, traditional, as much as you have to drop in at that point with that swing, if you come too far inside, again, it has to go this way and then it gets steep. It's kind of this like a J almost, instead of just a straight arc. If you come too far inside and then it gets steep, you still end up with a steeper club at the top if you come too far inside. Look, it's hard to come too far inside off the ball and then have a laid off swing. That's a very awkward move, to come inside and then be here. So a lot of times when you come too far inside, it actually ends up picking the club up steeper, even though your intentions may be to get it a little more flat and draw bias. Coming too far inside will cause the opposite. So there's always a happy medium with everything in the swing. But I think if the first foot, this is a great drill. This is an old drill, everyone's done this probably, if you've been playing golf for any amount of time, where you push the ball straight back. If you can just get that move right there, just get the club started, 1 foot, straight back, and it just falls right onto the line. Why wouldn't you want to be right there, dead square, dead square, dead square? If I need to draw it, if I need to fade it, it's so easy. I've always been a very big fan of the one plane swing. And it's worked well for me. I just feel, there's another one, same spot. I just feel like I'm swinging on the exact same plane for most shots. And to be honest, it took me what? When I was a kid, I tried so hard to get the club more outside my hands, which I could do in the backswing, but I kept coming down too steep, and I would have the slices. And it wasn't until I learned to get a little bit flatter, a little more like where you can see like a Ben Hogan, rather than up here like a Justin Thomas. Because from up here, you have to drop into the position. That move right there, I think, is the most difficult for most people, is going from having this cupped wrist to a bowed wrist is one. That's a really good move to practice. I exaggerate it to this day, where I might exaggerate on practice swings, having the club out, and then getting that flexion and bowing my wrist. But in the actual swing, it's a little more just like that. It's basically just right there. Still that feeling a little bit, but it feels very much just, I'm following a line back, following the line down. And again, I've said this a million times, effortless power is key. You just let the club fall, throw your body into it. So easy. Just so easy. I mean, of course, it takes a long time to develop good hand-eye coordination, because hand-eye coordination will outplay swing mechanics any day. Because I've seen a lot of people, that they come out and they learn golf and get lessons and they get their swing tweaked, and it's year 1 or 2 and their swing looks very good, but they suck. They can't break 80, they can't break 90 even half the time. And then there's other guys with they do everything wrong, their alignment's off, they drag the club, they do this, that. Their basic fundamentals are there, but everything else is off. And they shoot course records and are some of the best players I know. And I think some of the best players of all time, like take a Jim Furyk, Mr. 59, or like Matthew Wolf's pretty good with a weird swing, similar to Jim Furyk, or a Bubba Watson, John Daly, Fred Couples, no one else's swing really looks like those guys' swings. That's their swing. I mean, I know my swing's pretty textbook, but I've spent my entire life tweaking it. It might have been a little more here naturally, and I just through the years, I've just always tried to get to square everything. Where I don't want it outside my hands, I don't want it inside my hands. I want that shaft parallel. At the top, I don't want to be cupped, but I also don't want to be Dustin Johnson bowed. That's okay if you are bowed. I'd rather see you a little bowed than a little cupped, but Fred Couples is cupped. But the difference is most amateurs who are cupped, and they stay cupped. Fred Couples is cupped, and then as he's taking the club down, he gains that flexion in the lead wrist meeting. That was okay. It was a little toey. Just felt the hair thin and a little toey. Footwork. That's another thing. Never overlook footwork. I keep seeing this comment everywhere when, someone like Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas, guys like that, they're coming into the ball, especially with driver, right? Paying attention to the trail foot. They're coming into the ball and their foot is coming up off the ground before they strike it. And traditional instruction will tell you to keep that foot planted until after impact. But that isn't exactly true. So the thing I've seen online is people trying to use guys like Scheffler's swing as an example of why footwork is irrelevant, and that is absolutely not the case. Those guys, they're taking a good thing and exaggerating it. So here's the difference. Scheffler comes in and he slides his trail foot and leg and knee, they come in this way. What does every amateur that shanks and heels and slices the ball do? Their foot comes up this way. This is the way your body's going to naturally want to do it, because you're going to be pushing off that trail foot. You're going to try to push off this trail foot, which is a no-no. So through years of correcting that, Scotty Scheffler probably had that issue when he was a kid or whatever, and he learned to do the opposite and get that foot back away. That is the key. And if you're going to keep your foot down, like the old Nicklaus roll, again, even though you're not sliding it like Scheffler, if you want to look like Tiger Woods or Adam Scott, they're still moving that foot and that leg. The momentum and the pressure that is shifting is still in that back and down field. It's not up and out. It's back and down. Golf is a game of opposites. It's almost always the opposite of what you do instinctively. All good? Not right on the rest. I'm just ranting. None of this is ever planned. In ball position, again, ball position, this is a conversation I was having. If you play it further back in your stance, the club's coming more from the inside. So look how the swing is. The swing comes from the inside, it straightens out, and then it goes back inside again. So if you have the ball forward, the club head's more likely to be moving left. And learn the new laws of ball flight. Know what the new laws of ball flight are. So of course the club's moving left, the ball wants to go right. Just the opposite. If it's way back in my stance, the club's coming more from the inside, the club out to the right, so the ball's going to want to go left. It's as easy as that. I mean, this game's simple. It's all about the spin you're putting on the golf ball, and then hand-eye coordination. It's all about the hand-eye coordination, and then the rest of it's up here. Physically, it's the hand-eye coordination. And the rest of it's up here, because up here tells your muscles what to do. takes a lot of practice, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say like, oh, it's the easiest game, because fuck no it is. It's the hardest game, unless you include probably skateboarding as a game. I wouldn't really say skateboarding is a game, it's more of a lifestyle. But skateboarding, I love skateboarding. But anyway, that's probably the only thing other than golf as far as like an activity, a hobby, a sport that's more difficult. So when I say golf's so easy it's laughable, or golf's an easy game, it's not that I'm saying, oh, it's easier than baseball or football, because I don't think that at all. I think those sports are just rudimentary motor skills, throwing, catching, running, hitting. And like baseball, you just got to make contact and hit it in this giant, opening. The ball doesn't even go very far. Golf requires a lot more precision, contact, and just how you hit the ball. But anyway, understanding the game. Start out with the new laws of ball flight. That's day one. That's where every golfer should start, is learning the new laws of ball flight. Then I know if I want to hit a hook, I can just aim out to the right. I'm trying to swing the club head out to the right around the ball. I know the ball is going to start where the club face is aimed at impact. So if I want to hit, say at the guitar, is the ultimate target, is the guitars, and I want to draw it. So I'm probably going to have my club face somewhere out near the motorcycle. And then I'm going to aim my body even further right of the motor. Or let's say I'll have my club face just left, like on that left handlebar of the motorcycle. So then I'll aim my body like just right of the motorcycle. And I'm going to try to just swing down that foot line right of the motorcycle. And if everything goes perfectly, the ball should start where the face was aimed, over the left handlebar of the motorcycle, and it should draw back to the target. And if I wanted to draw, put the club face a little bit, aim out here, play the ball back to my stance, just a touch, an inch or two. Throw it out there, and use your hands too, especially when you're really trying to shape a ball. You develop the feel in your hands. And yep, I always hit it a little on the toe when I draw the ball. It's that furthest one out on the toe. Just the opposite with a fade. You're standing closer to it. Or you should stand just a little closer to it. I aim everything left, and I'm just swinging everything left. Left, 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 while not letting the club face close. With the draw, I'm using my hands to almost wrap the club head over and around the ball. And then with the fade, I'm trying to pinch down without letting the club face flip closed. You might even see a little bit of an Arnold Palmer finish if I'm really trying to move one left to right. Alright, so if I'm aiming at those guitars, it's important is you know how to aim. So I like to line up behind it. Most pros do this. Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, like everyone on tour. I'll pick a little spot. So I got a little spot here, which is just about at that front bicycle tire. So the flag we're pretending is basically that darker colored guitar, that guitar. So I want to fade it, so I got to aim left. So I'm going to aim roughly at that left bike tire. So I come up, I have my spot right here. That's right in between the ball and the bike tire. I line my face up to that. Now I wouldn't line up straight to there, because that's where I want the ball to start, but I'm trying to fade the ball back. So I'm going to put my face there, and I'm going to aim even further left. You really gotta, your setup is such a huge part of shaping the ball. And now I just swing down that line, and it should start about over that bike tire. Yeah, and it did. Almost knocked this mirror over. I have a mirror right here. Fucking broke it the other day on accident. It wasn't me technically. I was messing around outside with the garage door. But anyway, golf. Easy game. No, let's some drivers. I very rarely practice with driver. I never really have. Even when I was a kid, you know, I was a member at one of the most difficult courses in the country, and full driving range access. And I'd sit there hitting 3 irons. I'd maybe hit a handful of drivers a day. But I think practicing too much with driver ruins the rest of your game, because driver is a little bit of its own unique swing. So I think it's easier to practice with the rest of your clubs and then know how to hit driver than it is to practice too much with driver and then hope that carries over into your other 12 clubs. I say 12 because your putter is 13 and then your driver's 14. But anyway, where's this lined up? So according to this red line, it should start basically right in between the guitars and the motorcycle, right at that figure 8 or that 8 on that piece of plywood on the wall. It's about where this should start. Hit that like crap. Maybe I should practice with driver more. That was one of the worst strikes I think I've ever hit. If you can see it. I mentioned I'm very rusty, I'm not playing all here. Much better. Thin heel. Very thin heel. Because I hit it high toe on the last shot. You can see, right? Thin heel. Let's hit some more. I forgot a fun driver. This is not my gaming driver. This is a different driver. Now I think I was getting a little too far forward in my stance. So these lines right here, there's 3 holes. See, there's a T and a hole, T. So I put those lines exactly parallel. I lined up this hole, and there's holes on the opposite side as well. So this line is perfectly in line with that. So where you want to line up driver is inside. The further forward you get that, it will go higher, yes, but the further forward in your stance, closer to off your front foot you get it, the more your swing is going to be coming in and around back to the left, which is going to make it slice more. So if you slice, try taking, like if this is your driver position, if you're already playing it up off your front foot, try just moving it back just an inch. So instead of being up against my heel, you know, it's an inch, maybe 2 inches, 3 most, 3 or 4, 5. Like realistically, 5 inches I'd say is most, like here. That's about as far back. If I was trying to hit a knockdown draw maybe with a driver. But basically this would be a high fade, is lined up perfectly with that inside heel. And then it would just be more of like a straight ball where, here I'll keep this club. This club is lined up, or the grip is lined up with the line. That would be a normal shot, just a couple inches inside. And then at most, I think I'd go to about there. Right about here would be more of a, kind of more of a knockdown draw, but I'd have to aim right now towards the motorcycle. Knockdown draw. I never draw the driver. Much better. Hit some fades. My phone is going to die really soon, so I'm just going to keep filming until that happens. That's my shot. See, I don't play draws with the driver. This is the one I hit that soap here. This is really the one club I don't draw. I stick to one ball shape almost exclusively with my driver, which is a fade. So I like to set up a little open. And the thing is, yes, perfectly straight. It makes it look like the ball is further forward than it is. But you also have to realize if I'm aimed over here, that ball is actually there. Because if I straighten my stance out, I'm here. So sometimes like when you open your stance, it makes you feel like you have the ball too far forward, and just the opposite. And also watch out for tee boxes, because many tee boxes will aim you left or right, or just not where ideally you should be aimed. So don't be afraid to go against the grain of a tee box. Try to hit it off the deck. Gotta cut it off the deck. This is 8.5 degrees, so you gotta cut it. That's why I play 8.5 to sight. I only play a cut with my driver. Anyway, off the deck. That squirted right. Try that again. I don't remember. Last time I hit a driver off the deck was on an old video. The time before that was probably 2 or 3 years before that. There it is. That was a nice driver off the deck. Oh, that felt so good. I might have turned it over just a hair too much. If anything, it might have been a little, might have been a little low on the face. Just a little. Just below dead center. But I mean, I like it just above dead center. It's really where the sweet spot is. Not too high. I tried to really get it up off the face because the tee's low. Skyball, if you want to see it. It's really skyballed way up there. Should have showed you the other ones that were all in the center. Getting a phone call. It's my girlfriend. All right, I gotta run. Peace.